Next guest in queue, and we have Farida Khan. Farida, can we have your video switched on? Can we have Farida's video switched on, please? And let's look at the gallery. Lovely. Very good evening,
Good
Farida.
evening. Good evening.
So good to see you. Love to you.
Thank
so
you.
I want to introduce, to Farida, to each one of the members here. She's a life coach from Pune, and her real purpose is to liberate women. And this is for all you lovely women out there, for 25 years to process their negative emotions, in her words, that she says, to be done in a healthy way. Such a beautiful thought, Farida. I'm sure with that mission, you've already started to reach out in your own unique way. And we'd love to hear your side of the story now.
Hi. Firstly, a very warm welcome and a loud shout out to all the women in the room on the eve of Women's Day. I hope by sharing my personal story, I'm able to inspire at least one person in this room, like Dr. Gopika rightly said, and I would have justified me coming on Women's Day celebrations. So here goes my story. As a young girl, I was extremely shy, submissive, and timid. And I grew up in a middle-class, simple family. Being the youngest, and as the family dynamics go, the youngest really didn't have much to say. I went on to a great school, which shaped me up really well. And I started, and there was no problem until then, until the first challenge came on when I reached class 6. And I started to do not very great with mathematics, with the result of which I was asked to repeat the entire year. Now this, if I look at this one incident, it's very insignificant if I look at it today. But the trauma that trickled in my entire life is something that it took away my self-confidence. It shattered the little self-esteem that I had, and I felt empty and I felt misunderstood. This pain was huge because there was a lot of shame that I went through to face all my classmates who went on to the next class. However, and I had to face this shame until we reached class 10. And this feeling was so strong in me that it validated, even though I went to college and worked on many things and in many spheres of life after my college, I was not able to stand out significantly at all because this feeling of not feeling enough was so strong. However, life continued and the pain within me continued. Fast forwarding life, I met that partner who I married today. He was bold, dynamic, confident, and a self-made man. I was very happy when that happened. But, you know, we look for our insecurities to be met in our partner. So of course, it was very short-lived. I went back shrinking in pain and not feeling good enough, not feeling sufficient enough. In the game of life, I felt like a loser. I had no identity of my own. I went backwards to do everything I could for the family. But somewhere I was haunted by emptiness and a feeling of being insignificant, of not having an identity of my own. This phase of my life too continued for some time. I had reached a point of enough is enough because I had started to become angry and resentful, bitter within. And this had started to show up in my outward interactions with the family, which I would cry of guilt because I didn't want to see that happen. And then this happened when COVID hit and I had to go to Goa, much against my wishes. I went there just for a week and I got stuck there for 3.5 months. It shattered me because firstly, I didn't want to go there. And when it happened, I got stuck. But of course, nature had a bigger plan for me. And we could never see that. It all happens to all of us. And I had to accept that because I kept trying to come back and I was not able to. I booked my flight tickets 3 times over, and 3 times the flights got cancelled. So I had to accept that, well, that was it. Now, the only thing that I had with me, being stuck by myself without my husband and children, was an abundance of time, which is something that I never had to my disposal as while I was hustling and running a very organized and perfectly run home, as I had labeled myself to be a perfectionist. Not so, and it left me very empty. Not that it made me feel any great. However, I realized that the first time in my life I've been able to reflect on the purpose of my life. I was able to find out what is it, who am I as a person, what is my life's purpose. And that was the time to reflect on myself, I think, was a game changer for me. I was able to connect to my inner self. I was able to find some kind of a strength, something that felt right. I don't know what that was at that point of time, but yes, I could feel that there was some strong connection. And this feeling was definitely not fleeting because it continued to stay with me. It stayed with me long enough till I came back to Pune and I reunited with my family, and I felt stronger than ever before. And then I continued to do so, and I realized that I am getting gravitated towards being towards self-help. So I made a bold declaration one day that I'm never going to now live this life, and I'm going to live the best version of myself. I didn't know at that point of time what that meant to me, and I don't know where I was headed. But I definitely did know that if there's anything that's going to come out of it, I am going to emerge stronger and I'm going to live a better life for myself. Other than this, I had no clarity. However, it wasn't about just taking a bold decision. I started working on myself. Like how? I started to wake up really early in the morning. I started my meditation practices. I started journaling my gratitudes. And I always was one who always worked on my physical health. So with the result of it, I was working on my mind, body, and soul. Not only that, I started to get into 8 hours of work every single day on working on myself. I invested with various mentors, you being one, Dr. Gopika, and invested with books and a huge amount of courses which I had saved up as my own personal investments, and I just went on. And I realized as I'm taking one step at a time, the other steps, the path started opening up for me beautifully. I was taking one step and yet another path opening up. So I just was going with the gut feeling. I knew it was all going right because now I had started waking up with a spring in my step. I had a purpose. I had something that I could work and look forward for myself. So I would want to quickly wrap up with everything, and this would just draw me into, and I wanted to get back to my desk to get going. I started small. I started, and then I realized that if I'm sitting on something so powerful as this, how can I sit on something and not help people out? So I did start going out and reaching out to people. And I started to see the results. Then, of course, I started growing bigger. And then there were doctors in the room, and there were some corporates who were on pivotal positions who came into my room, and I was able to give them breakthroughs. And how? And the kind of adulation and the appreciation and the transformations that I was being able to make in their lives was validation enough for me to feel confident, to come into my power. I just knew that I'm cut out for this. And I just went from strength to strength. There was nothing stopping me. And until today, I am a learner. I know that I'm a lifelong learner. Today, I'm doing my advanced NLP, and I'm very happy and I'm very humble to share with you all that I am now chosen to do my scholarship program for Master NLP. I now look forward to taking myself to a different level and to take people along with me. My mess has become my message, and I'm here facing you, all of you. That girl who didn't have any confidence is all there, facing you right there. Thank you, Dr. Gopika, for giving me this platform to share my story.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
yes, I would like to give you a nice, big virtual hug, Farida.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
so much. You know, it is my pleasure. It is the pleasure of this every single member today in the community to let their heart reach out and share their chapters of success. And it's so very important to do it at least once a year. And I'm so proud to hear it. And I can tell you, people, everyone, while she's been a part of my community for the last 1 year, I can tell her strenuous efforts on making sure that she's becoming one better version of herself every single day. And with that kind of a learning experience, how else, she could just run away from not making it happen. Today, of course, she's not only holding up the stage today here, she's making her family proud. And I'm very, very happy to hear that side of the story, Farida. Can we have a big round of applause for Farida? Come on, a quick APP in the chat box if you do not see the signal of the applause there, because virtually it becomes people for them to show them, your love, for the love that you've been able to, give us. Thank you so much,
people.
Farida.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening to me patiently and for allowing me to be vulnerable in front of all of you. Thank you so much.
That's the honesty. And thank you so much, Farida, for making this day truly, truly special.